Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Let me start off by saying thank you for all of the love and the positive reviews I got and all the likes on my very first Sephora haul. I did ask if anybody wanted to see anything else to let me know, and I did get a lot of feedback. And it seems like everybody wants to know about my story. And what I mean by that is, for those of you that already know me, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Amanda. I'm 30 years old, and I am a cancer survivor. It's kind of hard for me to say that I'm a cancer survivor just because for so many years I try to put that thought in my head that, I didn't have cancer, it wasn't that bad, anything like that. But the truth is, when I was 19 years old, I worked at the Park District with my father for the summertime. And I just started experiencing some weird pain in my left hip, and everybody just said, oh, it's growing pains, it's nothing, don't worry about it. And at that time I was 19, and I'm like, okay, growing pains, great, because I'm only 4'11", so I'll take all the growing I can get. And that started off in the beginning of the summer when I was 19. The end of the summer, it just continued to get worse and worse, the pain did. And after the summer was over with, I literally woke up one morning and was walking from my bedroom to the kitchen, and my leg did not move the way it should. It stopped coming back. It just would stop, and that was it. So my parents took me to a doctor who examined my leg and was like, you're fine, don't worry about it, you pulled a muscle. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Couple weeks later, pain gets worse, go to a different doctor, same thing, you're fine, don't worry about it. I probably seen a total of 6 to 8 doctors, different hospitals, that not one person really wanted to take the time and examine me to figure out what was wrong. But hey, that's part of life. So fast forward to about a year and a half later, I end up in the emergency room at Rush University because the pain in my leg just got so bad and I couldn't walk. And I remember one doctor did an x-ray, comes back and tells me, you have scoliosis of your spine. And I just felt inside of me that wasn't it. I'm like, no, I don't have back pain, I don't have anything wrong with me, I never did. I want to talk to somebody else. So he brings in this other lady, and I will never forget, I've only met her that one time, this was years ago, and her name was Dr. Lisa. And she took a look at the x-rays and she told me, don't listen, it's not scoliosis, I don't know why he's saying that. She's like, I think he's just trying to get you in and out, because it was a very busy time at the ER. She said, I do want to refer you to this doctor who does work at this hospital at Rush. His name is Dr. Verkis. And I was like, okay, let's go. So I made an appointment, and a week later, I went in to see him. And really cool guy, tall, skinny guy, comes walking in, and he's like, so what's going on? And I tell him, and he starts asking about, is there any history in your family, with anything like this? And I'm like, no. He asked to watch me walk. And I walked for him. I sat down on the exam table, and he comes up and he was like, I'm going to touch your hip. And I'm like, all right. And he takes his thumb and he sticks it right in like my hip joint. And he goes, you have a mass in there? He goes, I'm not sure what it is. I want to get an MRI done. And when the MRI comes back, he was like, I'm pretty sure you're going to have to get in for a biopsy. And I'm like, okay. First visit, he knew exactly what everything was. I had my MRI, all of that done, taken care of. I'm back in his office a week later, and I'm sitting there, and he tells me that there is a large mass in the muscle of my hip, the top part of like my thigh, like right all there. And I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? He goes, I can't say that it's a tumor or anything like that. He goes, I need to get a biopsy of it first, and we'll go from there. So a week later, I was in for a biopsy. The biopsy was just, they did put me to sleep for it, but I went home that day, and it was an in and out procedure. I've never in my life had any type of surgery before, or stitches or anything like that. So I was nervous, but I just was excited to get some answers and see what was wrong. And we go, and I mean, the biopsy's done. I'm home. The very next day, he calls me and he tells me over the phone, you have a tumor growing in your hip. From what I can tell from the biopsy, it doesn't appear to be cancerous or anything. And I was like, oh, never crossed my mind that that would be an issue. So I go in. My very first surgery is September 11th. I had just turned 21 that past July, so I mean, that's how long it took for me to get answers, from 19 to 21. Go in for the surgery, and now let me remind you, from the age of 19 up until 21, my leg stayed in a bent position at the knee. I physically could not put it straight. When I lay down in bed, I couldn't lay on my stomach. I had to lay on my side or on my back because my leg stayed bent. That's just how it was. I went in for my surgery. I was nervous, but at the same time, I felt like I should have been more nervous than what I was. But, went in for my surgery and got to go home, I believe the next day. He said I did very well. He removed the tumor, and he had to straighten out the muscle because the muscle had, it had shrunk because of the position my leg was in for so long. So I was in this like little cast thing from the hip down to my ankle, so I couldn't bend my leg for 6 weeks. So I couldn't take a chance on snapping it back. And that was it. My recovery was so fast, and I was running again. I was walking normal again. Everything was perfect and fine. And I was like, oh, I love this. I just chalked it up to being one of those random things that happen to people. A year later, almost exactly 1 year later to the date, started getting the exact same hip pain that I was getting, that I had. I call him and I tell him, and he says, oh, I was worried about this. Let's get you in for another MRI. I go in for another MRI, and the tumor has grown back. So we're sitting in his office, and he's talking to me and telling me, we got to be serious about this because it's coming back. And he's like, the chances of it, coming back, if it's non-cancerous, are really low. He goes, but depending on the type of tumor you have now, he was like, we need to treat it more seriously. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, okay, should have been done that way the first time, but he's a really good doctor. I love him. I go in for my second surgery, and during that surgery, something had happened with my pelvis, and I ended up needing a pelvis and hip osteotomy, which left me with like 4 screws in there and everything. I had to get an epidural, all of that craziness. Tumor was removed, and this surgery was done in November of the following year. So the tumor was removed, all of that, and I felt better, was walking fine again and everything. Fast forward to the next month, Christmas Eve. And Christmas Eve, I'm getting ready for my dad to pick me up from my apartment, and I'm in my kitchen getting stuff together, and my cell phone rings, and it's my doctor. And he tells me, because I had told him from the beginning, if you have anything to say to me, don't call me to come in your office. Call and tell me over the phone, because I'll probably have a heart attack on my way from my house to your office. So he calls and tells me that he sent off pieces of this tumor all around the world, and he had over 8 doctors take a look at it. And they all came back unanimously that it was cancerous. It was a sarcoma tumor, which was really rare. The type that I had only tends to come up in people in their 60s and 70s. And I said, so I have cancer. And he's like, yes. He's like, after the holidays, I want you in my office. We need to discuss a treatment plan. And I said, okay. And that was pretty much it for the conversation. I can't really remember anything else after that. I kind of feel like I blacked out. Then hang up the phone, and immediately I go into this little bit of this like panic. And I just remember going in my bedroom, getting on my knees, and I started praying to God. And I was like, God, please don't let me die. I don't want to die. And so that was that. And I see him a week later, and I'm right in for radiation treatment on my hip at Rush University. I did it every day for 6 weeks while I still worked. I went to work from 7:30 in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I left, got treatment, went home, came back, and did it the next day. And then the tumor was growing back for a 3rd time during that treatment. And I was on my way to have my 3rd hip surgery, tumor removal, all of that. And I'll never forget Dr. Verkus telling me that he's going to remove the muscle that the tumor is growing in, because if he didn't, that I'm at risk of having my leg amputated from the hip down. And that scared the life out of me. That scared me more than hearing I had cancer. So I go in for my 3rd surgery, and I'm nervous as usual, and I wake up from it, and I'm in recovery, and he tells me everything went fine. I removed the whole thing. I removed the muscle. Your leg's going to have this little indent in it, which it does, but I mean, it's high up, so it's not that noticeable. I have a really large scar. I have radiation burns from the radiation that I had at Rush, which the whole skin just looks really weird and everything like that. And then I did this different type of treatment for the 3rd time called proton radiation treatment, which means they can just give you a lot more of the radiation in that targeted area without it bouncing to good parts. So, I mean, that's my story about the cancer. Sorry if this is a long video. There's just so much detail to go into it. So that was my 3rd time. Now, going from that to now, it's been 5 years since that 3rd surgery, and I've been finally cleared into remission a couple of months ago. You have to be 5 years cancer-free, tumor-free for you to be cleared into remission. And I was cleared into remission a couple of months ago, which was the greatest news I've ever heard in my entire life. I do walk with a limp. I will probably always walk with a limp because I am missing muscle. I can't bend my leg normally like other people. Putting on socks and tying my shoes, all of that's different. But I make it work. I can get up and I can walk, so I'm fine. I am looking at a full hip replacement surgery just because the radiation kind of ate through the bone and it's just a mess. So we'll be getting a hip replacement surgery. I just don't know when, but we're trying to hold off on that. But I guess my main thing is that now that I've been cleared into remission, I want to start doing things that I've always loved, and for me that's makeup. When I was going through all of my treatment and all my hip surgeries, I was on YouTube all the time watching people do makeup and all of this stuff just to get my mind off of everything that I was going through. And now that I'm okay, I want to start doing it. And I mean, who knows if this takes off? Who knows if it won't take off? I don't know. I have faith that it will, and maybe a girl will come across my video that needs this, you know? And the only thing I can say is that, you know, at no point did I allow myself to think I'm gonna die from cancer. You know, it just wasn't in my mindset. I was terrified, yes, and just never did that. I had faith every step of the way. My life is different from it, but I have a life and I can walk, so I'm fine with that. But now I want to start doing things that make me happy, that I found relief in. I want to start doing that for other people, and just let everybody know that no matter what you're going through, no matter how hard it is, no matter how dark your day is, the sun does still shine. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. There's a silver lining. All of those things that you've always heard, they are true. Things do get better. They really do. And this is coming from a person that's been through so much. You have to have faith. No matter what you believe in, have faith in something and it'll pull you through. And I believe that my faith is what got me to where I am. And I'm hoping that, you know, if you're still watching, because I know it's been about 16, 17 minutes or something. I mean, there's so much more to this whole thing with my leg that I can't even get into. If you want to know more, I mean, feel free to ask me and I will tell you. I will be 1,000% honest about anything. I'm not a very type of person that will hide much, so ask away and I will tell you. But as far as my channel, I feel good enough now and happy enough with myself and to where I'm able to start doing these things. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, I had fun doing it. And I mean, who would have thought my first video would get over 80 watches? I mean, I don't even know if I know 80 people. But thank you for watching, and that was part of my story. It was a long road to get here, but I got here and I'm still here. So that's the best thing ever. And thank you for watching again. I really appreciate everything. So sorry about the long video. But like I said, if you have any questions, ask me. I will be honest with you. And you take care of yourself and have faith. Everything will be okay, no matter how bad things get. Things always have a way of turning around. They really do. Everything works out for the best in the end. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time, but with a video about makeup and how I do it. Thank you. Bye.